How you doing, you guys? Kenny here, also known as SilentFan85. Welcome to another Y in YT, the Y in YouTube. We're talking with JTBethards today. JT's a good buddy of mine, has been for a few years now. Was a friend of a friend with Phoenix Feather, and then we kind of met up and I've been hanging out with him off and on over the years. He is a creator on YouTube. He has done his own videos, done his own streams. Kind of got into it a couple of years ago, if I remember right. And he's been going ever since. So, JT, how you been?
Good. Thank you.
Cool.
And yes, I tell you what, it's been amazing. A couple of years of being friends.
All right, man. I've enjoyed your friendship over the years. There's very few people. Very few people, but you're definitely awesome. So,
well, I appreciate that coming from an amazing guy like you. That's awesome.
Aw, I'm blushing. Literally, I'm blushing. You can see it. But I'm going to apologize for everybody watching for the background here. My office is a work in progress right now, but we always kind of keep this kind of casual. I'm not like this isn't a big thing. It's a bit of a project here on the channel. And again, I want to thank JT and the previous interviews, as well as any future interviews, for their part in it. So, JT, let me ask you this. What did you want to be when you grew up?
Oh, man, that's actually a pretty good question, because the family I grew up in, my grandfather owned a construction, and of course we also had a farm.
Mm-hmm.
So, I kind of grew up in that lifestyle, but I also grew up in sports, playing in sports all the time. So I always kind of knew, either way, I knew I was going to be doing something physical.
Mm-hmm.
But, I've always wanted to play sports, but then I had a real serious high school that kind of ended my career.
And bummer.
So, so after that, I knew I was going to get into construction or farming, and I did farming for a while. I got extremely burned out on it. So I worked for my grandfather's construction company, and I keep telling myself I'm not going to do it, but over the years, that perception, and so, I guess working for the city, it's still kind of construction in a weird way, but it's always had to do something outside. Always had to be outside.
Okay, so you're definitely a labor kind of guy.
Oh yeah, unfortunately.
I get that. I get that. I've been a mix of everything over the years, so I know how you feel.
And it's crazy because because I tell people I can't do inside jobs, I can't do desk jobs, and it's not disrespect to people that can do it, because
nah.
Like I tell people, I deal with physical, I physically get worn out, but I said people in the office, man, mentally, which in my opinion is even worse, get worn out.
Yeah.
And I don't think office and desk people get near the credit they deserve.
Mm-hmm.
And, and I have a lot of respect for them, because I couldn't sit behind a desk and do the stuff that they do. No way. No way in the world can I do that.
Manual labor can be stressful, but in my experience, the two most tiring things somebody can ever engage in mentally is customer service and office politics.
Yep.
It gets crazy.
And, all right. And that is the worst thing about working for the city, is there's a lot of politics involved.
Mm-hmm. Bet.
And like I tell people, I love the people I work with, and the job itself's not bad. But when political starts getting into it, then it starts getting, too much. And, especially in the city that I live in, it's a very corrupted town, and it's very well known that it's a corrupted town. And it's one of the things where, you can't do nothing about it. So you just kind of keep your mouth shut and do what they tell you.
Mm-hmm. And that's part of it. And and politics is definitely a discussion for another video for sure. That's a whole different realm. So switching gears though, let me ask you this, and this is one of the questions I ask everybody. If somebody was to make a movie about your life, who would play you?
If he was still alive, Chris Farley.
Hey, all right, that's a good answer. I like that.
I love Chris. I do, and I miss him. He's probably one of the greatest comedians, and probably one of the most underrated comedians of all. And I know a lot of people love Chris Farley, but I don't think people actually grasp how amazing he was.
Right.
But yeah, if he was alive, I say Chris Farley. But since he is gone, man, I don't know. In a weird way, because I'm not a big Seth Rogen fan, but people say I kind of remind him of Seth Rogen in a weird way.
You and I are in the same boat. People say the same thing about my voice, dude. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. Wish I had his money, though.
you know, a lot of people are like, oh, you know, I want Brad Pitt or someone. But it's like, you know, I got to be kind of honest with myself. Like, who would fit my description and stuff? Seth Rogen would be it. But like I said, you know, if I could go with someone from both live or dead, you know, if Chris Farley was alive, it'd definitely be Chris.
Cool, man. No, that's a great answer. So, switching to streaming again. When did you? Are you? And because you're a bit of a variety content creator. You stream and you also just do videos too.
Mm-hmm.
What was the first thing you did? It was a video, wasn't it? If I remember right.
Yeah, the first one I did, and you know, never in a million years did I ever think about even doing YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it was I started off watching Phoenix, and then of course I started watching you, and you know, I started talking to Phoenix and during his streams and stuff, and you know, eventually we became friends, and they invited, you know, Tough and then invited me into the group, and you know, they kept like, oh, you know, just do it for the fun. So I was like, all right. So you know, Phoenix turned me on to action recording,
Right.
and so I downloaded it, or I bought it and downloaded it, and I think we played Golfing with Friends was the first one I did, and I've never recorded, I've never done anything, so I'm new to it, and I recorded like 3 games of it. And my first video was actually the first one I ever put out was probably my best one ever. And I don't know what I did, but I screwed up and it ended up sounding like chipmunks the whole time. And everybody loved it. And the worst part is I don't know how I screwed it up, so I couldn't screw it up again to do the other videos. But you know, it was fun and I had fun. And so kind of from went there, I ended up getting OBS and started recording and streaming and all that. But
Okay.
yeah, that first video was my best one. And man, I to this day, I still wish I learned how I screwed that up and was able to screw it up again because everybody loved it. I mean, they said it was one of the funniest videos they've ever seen just because, you know, we all had chick mom voice. But I was like, that's the worst part. I don't know how I broke it.
Yeah, that happens though, man. Especially in the background when you're trying to get stuff done. It's like, oh, what the hell did I do? I mean, come on.
I have no clue what I did. And
yeah.
Luckily for me, it turned out amazing because I was actually thinking about taking it down, and then all the guys like, no, you gotta leave it up. It's freaking hilarious. So, you know, I did, and you know, just you know, and never dreamed of even still doing it to this day because you know I got a full-time job, and I was like, man, I don't know how I'm ever gonna have time for it.
Mm-hmm.
And I said I don't really want to start investing into it, you know.
Yeah.
And not knowing what my future is going to hold, but you know, I did, and you know, I ended up buying a better computer, and now saving up to buy another computer, and it's kind of it's turned into a hobby more than anything. And
right,
you know, growing up, I didn't have much hobbies. You know, I was always working and stuff like that. So gaming and sports was my hobby, and you know, with sports being done, gaming turned into my other hobby, and in the long run, it worked out for the best to do this, and it's still as a hobby. You know, I don't do it as a job.
mm-hmm.
So I can, you know, to me, it's more fun. You know, I feel like if you have to do this for a job, you know, you'll get burned out on it because you know, you have to do things a certain way. But me, right. I just record and do whatever and put up what I want when I want, and it's just fun.
Well, and that's been the case with previous interviews as well. It's really more of a hobby, and to me, that's the most fun. I mean, you know, mm-hmm. I totally agree with you. And you and I have actually aligned when it comes to like life history on how it went that way. I mean, because I was in sports for a bit. I played middle school football for about a year and a half, and then started really getting into games, and then, you know, started getting into recording and streaming and all that. So yeah, I feel you there, man. And again, keep it in as a hobby. You don't burn out as quick, you know.
Yeah, because you know, it's like one of them deals. You know, like you know, certain YouTubers, you know, that do this for a living, that, you know, that's how they make the money. Is, you know, they, in order to keep making that money, they got to find what game's going to work for them. And you know, even if they get burnt out on the game, they know that's the game that's making the money. That's the game they have to keep doing.
Right.
And, you know, and I told them, I said, you know, I never want to be in that position where I have to play a game that I absolutely hate worth the passion just to make people happy, just to make money.
It's not worth it.
No, it's not.
It's not worth it, in my opinion. Yeah.
You know, like me and Phoenix was talking the other day, you know, one of our favorite games is LA Noire.
Right.
And, you know, I love the fact that I could still, you know, if I feel like playing it, I can get on and play it if I want. You know, I don't, you know, if I want to stream it or record it, I can.
Right.
and I don't really care what people, think of it, because I'm having fun with it, and that's what matters to me.
That's that's the great part about it, and it's as you get bigger, as more people start to watch you, they start to engage with you more, they start to like your personality. A big chunk of the crowd can be pretty fickle about
Yeah.
what they will watch and what they won't watch.
Yeah.
People like what they like, and that's a truth you learn as a content creator.
Oh, very
Um,
much.
and some people can even get a little spiteful if you don't do what they want you to do, if you don't dance like a monkey,
Yes. And
So it
and
gets
sadly,
crazy.
being as small as I am, I have dealt with that,
Yeah.
but that's one thing I've always been able to respect about you, Silent, is you're not like most YouTubers. You're playing a certain game. That's because that's what people want.
Mhm.
I watched you play the most random games ever that people's never heard of because it's what you love. And me as a fan of you and as a fan of other YouTubers, you can notice when that YouTuber's having fun with it, and it makes watching them more enjoyable.
Right. Well, yeah,
You know,
and that's what makes it worth it. And you're right. I have played some really random games. It's like some that I was just like, yeah, why not?
oh
So
yeah, like
I
I watched you
appreciate
play
that.
games, like I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, yeah. And that's the other part of it too, is that it introduces games like that to people.
Uh-huh.
They may or may not like it, but
Yeah.
the way I've done it, and the way you like to do it, is what keeps us going on it. So
Oh yeah.
it's I appreciate I appreciate the way you do things as well. So
Oh well, thank you.
that's really awesome of you.
Yeah, and see, and that's the great thing. You know, Phoenix was able to turn me on to Keymailer, and of course
Hmm.
now I don't get the cool games like he does, but I've been seeing some cool little independent games that have actually turned out pretty fun.
Yeah.
And I've been lucky in my YouTube to be able to get that situation and been accepted. And I appreciate the company for saying, hey, we want you to promote this game. And
Right.
some of them have been, kind of horrible and not fun, but I've been seeing a few that are actually, out of this world kind of fun, whether you realize it or not.
Right. No, and that's a great point. I mean, Keymailer, I've used Keymailer for years. I haven't got
Mm-hmm.
one in a while, or I keep getting offered them, but I'm so stacked on side projects, I keep turning them down. But no real big titles though. But
Yeah.
Keymailer is a great tool, especially for up and coming content creators.
Oh
So
yeah.
on the same note, and don't use me here. Not that I'm being presumptuous, but a YouTuber, streamer, in that regard, who do you, is there a certain person you look up to the most?
Um, you know, what kind of got me into gaming YouTube was actually Vanos Gaming and his crew.
Okay.
That's who I originally started. And now, I know deep down I'll never get as big like him and his guys is. But one thing that turned me on was his editing skills.
Right.
Um, and what he's able to do. And but I started watching Phoenix and and when you watch Van Austin, you watch their streams and stuff. You really don't get the interaction like with them. Because there's thousands of people watching and this and that. But I started watching Phoenix, and he would interact, and the guys would interact with you, and of course I met you, and you would interact with them, and so that's kind of what inspired me to help do it, because you're like it's a great way to meet people,
Hmm.
and it's to me I like the smaller YouTube content creators because you are able to interact with them a lot more than you would if you're watching like my other favorite is Boogie2298. And I
Oh
love
yeah.
him, but it's hard for him. He's got so many people watching to
Yep.
be able to interact with everybody, and
Yep.
but so
Yep.
they do inspire me, but a lot of the smaller ones inspire me too to be able to better myself and better the YouTube gaming platform and stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, I'm right there with you. Smaller content creators, they keep at it. I mean, there are some that that burn out. They're just like, there's other things to do in life. But there are ones that keep at it. They just keep doing it, and
Mm-hmm.
that's really where, especially a lot of the folks, folks like you that I've met through friend of a friend or come across channels because, I'm one of those. I'll pop into random channels. I'll watch random channels, even on Twitch and YouTube, and pop in on streamers. And it works on multiple levels because you can meet people, you can be inspired by people, you can get ideas from people. And so it's really cool. So I'm with you on that same regard.
All right. That was my food.
Okay. All right, that's fine. All right, no problem. Okay, so let me ask you this: what has been like the longest video or stream you've ever done?
I want to say the longest stream I've ever done was when Mafia 3 came out.
Okay.
And I think it was on Thanksgiving. It was one of my better streams. And I think I played for like 5 hours or so.
Good run.
But usually my streams are about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Okay.
I don't play too long, but my longest video I think was about an hour.
An hour?
I think it was A.K.A. Noir when I did it on my old computer.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, when I got my new computer, I had to redo it because the graphics were so much better. So
yeah, no, I know what you mean. I mean, that's how I've done my channel throughout the years too. As I've upgraded my gear, I've replayed through games. Because they look better,
And see, like A.K.A. Noir, like I was saying earlier, is one of my favorite games of all time. And and I'm not gonna lie, I'm a Rockstar fanboy through and through. I love everything they put out.
Yeah.
But that is probably my ultimate favorite game. So when I got the new computer and I was like, man, the graphics are so much better. It's like I got to just start all over and redo it all.
It's a win-win because you get to re-record it and replay it, and it looks beautiful,
Oh, it does. It does.
So I'm like that. I was especially like that with the Tomb Raider series over the years,
Oh yeah.
It was fantastic. So
and see, that's one thing I actually love about your channel is, I've seen you redo games, but I love the fact that you play a lot of the nostalgia games, the old school games.
Yeah.
And, and I love it because, I remember being younger and being a kid playing those games myself. And I was like, man, that brings back memories.
Yeah. And I try to play as much as possible. That's one of the challenges though, man, is, especially like this year and next year, you have so many good games that have come out just one after the other. And as a streamer and a content creator, it's hard to keep up sometimes alone with that. But when you really feel that nostalgic pull and want to play some of the older stuff too, it's just like, okay, I'm getting anxiety just from that alone, So you get pulled so many ways.
And see, like, that's the bad thing about my channel, because that is one thing I kept telling myself that I will never do. And that was sticking with one genre of games. I kept saying, I want to be able to do basically what you do, play just everything. And, but somehow, I've just kind of got stuck in the whole simulator boat. So when I do try playing another game, it don't get the views and stuff, which, it's still not a big thing. Like, I played the Mafia series, and I know it don't get views, but I still upload it because I love the game and everything.
Right.
But, and because people ask me, it's like, you're all about numbers. Like, it's not really about that, but, I do want to see the views up there because there's a lot of people that never heard of A.K.A. Noir and Mafia 2 and that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the more views it gets, not so much really promoting them, but it's broadening somebody's horizon on the different kind of games there is.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of it. And that's where it benefits both the creator and the viewer.
Mm-hmm.
So so shifting to real life. In your real life circle, we all have our networks of friends and family, local acquaintances, stuff like that. Who is the funniest person in your circle?
Oh God. That's actually a very, very tough one. Because I worked at a bar for 10 years and I've dealt for 10 years every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. I've dealt with Debbie Downers and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I've had my, local bar friends that, are always great. But, and I got funny friends everywhere, but I have to say the funniest friends I have was through gaming and through, you guys and stuff like that. But like Tyler and Phoenix, and of course Kella now,
Mm-hmm.
that we all have our funny moments in it, and that's the great thing with all of us being friends is sometimes we could push the envelope with each other and make even funnier stuff that
Yeah.
makes things better. And I have certain friends like that, but be honest, with having a daughter and working all the time, I don't really get to hang out with my friends here. And of course, they've grown up and they've had their own family and kids. So now I'm to the point in my life, and I know to a lot of people it's a sad world, but I love it.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of my friends is you and Phoenix and all that and stuff like that. But and it's fine with me because I know whenever we spend time together, it's always something going to be funny going on and hilarious, and that's the way I like it.
That answer was full on JTBethards, and I love it.
Yeah,
That was fantastic. So,
yeah,
and I agree with you. I mean, it's really hard sometimes, and that question is really kind of designed to kind of dig deep into your social life a little bit in your circles, and who's the funniest person? Because the funniest person in your crew or in your life really is a good representation of who you're connected with.
Oh yeah.
So,
and like I've told
yeah.
you, and I remember growing up, and I'm sure you do too. Back in the 80s and 90s, and even in the early 2000s, if you were known as a gamer, you were the nerd, and nobody wanted to hang out with you. And one thing that's been so cool growing up through these years, and that a lot of people, and I think even as young as Tyler, don't quite understand, is the revolution that gaming has created and how amazing the gaming community has become. That now the gaming community, you're not known as a nerd. You're actually pretty cool if you do game.
Right.
You see all the time of friendships that are created through gaming. And I mean, I read a story the other day where these group of guys were from all over the United States, and they had one guy. In fact, I think I just read like a day or two ago that lived in Australia, and of course, Australia's dealing with the fires right now.
Right.
And they actually not only got all together, but they flew down to Australia to help their friend out, and then they helped donate money to help rebuild his area, because I think they just got rain or something like that. And they said, had we never gamed, we would have never met this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And stuff like that. And and like be honest, some of my better friends is from gaming.
Yeah.
I've spilt more to you and the guys in the Outcast than I have probably most people in real life.
It's through gaming you can build a really solid unity with people.
Oh, you can.
But on the other side of it, there is also because you talk about that evolution of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Back in our day, being in our age group, before online gaming became a thing, you would play multiplayer games. It was right there in the same room with a friend, or you were a part of a LAN group. But either way, you were in the same group or same place. So if you got toxic, you said it to somebody's face. You didn't say it online, so you could risk getting punched or even shoved or something.
There was no keyboard warriors back in them.
Exactly.
You just said it. Basically, you looked right next to whoever sitting next to you, you told them right to their face. And,
and if you raged, you tossed a controller at somebody, and they were going to retaliate.
Luckily, growing up, the only person in my family that was a gamer was my cousin.
Mm-hmm.
And bless his heart, things happen. We don't get along nowadays, but back then we would get so angry at each other. The only problem was he knew I was a lot bigger and a lot stronger.
Yes.
So he would get ready to say something, but then he was like, "Oh crap, JT can pull my ass. I'm not going to do that."
Right.
And so he was like, "Oh yeah," but I was the complete opposite because I knew I could beat him up. So I would rage quit and just throw stuff at him, which wasn't the nicest. It wasn't the nicest. But
I used to. I mean, I had a cousin. He actually he got newer systems before I ever could, because I grew up with a single mom working three jobs.
Mm-hmm.
And I was lucky to have a Sega Genesis at the time. And but he got a Sega. So further along the life, he was able to get a PlayStation. He got a Sega Saturn, stuff like that. And I always went over to his house to play them. And I remember one time, we raged, and we were playing. We were playing a racing game. It was a MotoGP game, and I raged. I tossed the controller. Luckily, it was wireless. That's right around the Sega Saturn era where they had the wireless controllers.
Yes.
They were shitty to no fault, but I threw it against the wall, and it wasn't my cousin I had to worry about. It was my aunt that I had to worry about. You know, because she paid for it. So it's, you know, it was what it was back in the day, but nowadays, you know, it's definitely changed. So
yeah, and you know, that's amazing because, you know, like, well, in fact, me and Tyler were playing Modern Warfare the other night, and some kids started getting, you know, mad at us, and so, you know, me and him got into an argument match, and I got done with that, and I was like, you know, nowadays if you just get tired of somebody, you just mute them. But you know, back in our day, you didn't have that privilege.
Right.
You dealt with it face to face.
Yeah, yeah. Otherwise, you're just like, you know what? You need to shut your face before this escalates.
Yeah.
You know? So okay, so we got a few minutes left. A few more questions for you. If you had a magic wand, what YouTuber or streamer, big or small, would you want to collab with?
Oh, man. You know, I guess, you know, I would like to do some with the Vanos gaming crew just because of, you know, they're freaking hilarious, and they got a dirty mind like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I know I'd click with them well. I love to do that. We'll make that a two-answer question, because as far as smaller one goes, oh man, that'd be a good one, because there's a lot of good smaller content creators.
Mm-hmm.
First one, you know, the one I consider small, you know, is like 500,000 or less. I'd say there's a guy named Gray Still Play. I think that's his name. It's been a while since I've been able to check out his channel.
Yeah.
And, you know, just his personality and everything, I think I'd love to collab with.
That's cool.
So,
well, yeah. maybe he'll see us at some point and maybe reach out to you. You never know.
That'd be. Although, also, I would like to collab with Boogie 2988.
Yes.
I love Boogie. You know, I think he's a lot of fun.
I'm right there with you.
Oh yeah, he's amazing.
I'm right there with you. And when I lived in Arkansas, some folks may not know this, but I lived less than 70 miles from the guy.
You know, I thought I remember you saying something about that one time, because we were talking about that.
Because I was in Rogers, Arkansas, and at the time, I don't know where he is nowadays, but he was in Fayetteville, Arkansas. So that was pretty awesome. So let me ask you this: if you ever had kids, or no, you do have kids. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I have a daughter.
Do you let her watch? Do you let her watch your content?
Oh no. No. You know, I growing up, my dad wasn't there.
Yeah.
And so, you know, bless my heart, I love my mama. She raised me good, and my grandpa and my uncle kind of raised me. So, you know, my uncle's basically my father figure. So it wasn't like I was completely without a father figure in my entire life.
Right.
But growing up, I always told myself, you know, if I ever have a kid, I'm going to be a 10 times better father than what I had.
Right.
And so, you know, I try, you know, she's come in here, you know, while we're playing games and stuff. And people think I'm mean because, you know, I pick on her stuff, and I wait till she's in the room and I'll call her a little bitch. But, you know, but I do it as a loving father way, you know. She's a pain in the butt, but she's my pain in the butt. And you know, I'd do anything in the world for her. But yeah, she, you know, her mom is a great mother, but she doesn't watch her mouth very well when she's around her.
Right.
So she's picked up words, and I know what's going to happen. She's going to start acting like me when I was a kid, and I was constantly in trouble all the time, and I know what that's like. You know, I remember going from school to school to school, and the principal already knew who I was before I ever got in there because of how much trouble I got into.
Right.
And so I don't want my daughter doing it, because my daughter loves school, which is amazing. And I want her to keep having that attitude. And I think that's one reason I got burned out of school, is because I was always in trouble. I knew nothing but be in trouble, and the teachers and principal hated me, which made it worse. Yeah. So, you know, I tried to keep her away from, you know, my videos and the guys' videos, nothing against them.
Right.
But, you know, like even on, like we got Netflix and Hulu, and I try to make sure, you know, we watch the kid-friendly shows and stuff like that.
Okay. I think you're just trying to.
Eventually, she's going to learn it, or she's going to find out I got YouTube, because I don't even think she knows I have YouTube right now.
Well, and you know, you're just trying to be a responsible parent. On the other side, you're also being an immature man child on the content, but you want to keep her away from that side at least for a while.
Oh yeah,
So
and like I said, that's.
And by the way, I meant that lovingly, you guys. I wasn't mocking him.
No,
we've said far worse to each other.
Oh yeah, and like I said, that's one reason I love hanging out with you, and I love hanging out with the guys from Alka. Because like even with us, there's times where people's watch our streams and they're thinking, we're full-fledged hate each other.
Oh, totally. Yeah, no.
And it's like, no, that's actually farthest from the truth. Is we know how far we can actually go without going over the line.
Trust me, there's been plenty of times when I've been amazed that myself, Phoenix, Tyler, JT, even Lady hasn't been banned from YouTube because of some of the content that we've produced.
Oh, especially when you get all of us playing
yes,
CS:GO together. Oh my god!
And that's just to name a few people. That's just to name a few YouTubers that we've hung out with.
Oh, and like me and Lady, I love Lady Death, and Lady's another friend that I met because of you in Phoenix, and she's an amazing friend. And the stuff that we say, and it's funny because I'll get her fans that I've never met. They'll come straight to me and they're like, "I can't believe you did this. How disrespectful to her."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I've had your fans come over and say the same thing." It's like, and so we both made videos like, look, it's like, yeah, we say the most outrageous thing. And I said, yeah, we'll scream at each other. But I said, trust me, when I say this, we're the bestest of friends. I love Lady Death. And, like me and Phoenix, people watch Saturday Night. We're constantly killing each other and calling each other names. But I said, I promise, me and Phoenix are best friends. So,
yeah.
And if you can't, and that's the way I look at it, if you can't joke with friends like that, are they really your friends? Because, you're as friends, what you can and cannot do. And we all know what each other can handle. We know how to get to that point without actually crossing the line and still have fun.
Exactly.
And that's what, in my opinion, makes us such a great group. And, like, especially when we play CSGO and the stuff we say to each other.
Yeah.
It's freaking hilarious. We're having fun. And that's why if you can't have fun with friends, there's no point of playing.
Especially on CSGO, we're quite literally stabbing each other in the back. At least I know I do. So.
Oh yeah, you stabbed me a time or two.
Dude, I've got knife tally marks on everybody. Are you kidding me? People.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than you think you're gonna kill somebody, and then all of a sudden you hear, ugh.
Yeah. Damn it, Silent. So that's tooting my own horn there. Okay, so one last question for you. With your videos, I haven't really noticed one myself, but is there a phrase that you find yourself repeating when you close out the video, like a catchphrase or anything like that?
I really don't have a catchphrase. My thing is always is I say peace, and I'll say peace in all different kind of way. I try to have fun with it. Sometimes I make myself sound completely dumb, or or loud or soft. Even on serious videos, I've done a few serious videos of topics over the years. Especially like involving work, because doing the kind of work I do, I deal with live traffic next to me all the time.
Right.
And I've personally know people that have gotten hit by cars, and I've known people that got killed by cars while doing their job. So I've hit on a few subjects like that, but I never ever try to end a video on a sour note. So when I end a video, I always try to, even if the whole video itself is depressing or a major subject, I at least try to, at some point at the end, try to have fun with it and liven it up.
Right. Well, and that's a key thing too, because you never know which one's going to be a last video or a last stream.
Yeah.
It's just like meeting people in real life. You want to leave some positivity in case you never see them again.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
And I've tried doing your outro before, but I always screw it up. And then me and Phoenix got into it one night because I swear to this day that I still got it right, but he says I didn't. And so so he told me I can no longer do your outro or attempt to do your outro.
Yeah, that is copyright Silent Studios 2020. So,
Well, we got into it. He's like, well, I'm the bigger Silent fan. And I was like, no, I'm the bigger Silent fan. And I to this day will argue that I said it right. He's like, oh, no, you even screwed it up. So I'm the bigger Silent fan.
Actually, you're neither both the Silent fan because you're both loud as hell, but that's You
That's
know,
true.
So-
That's true.
I get that so many times in video games. I'll put in my input on something, and it's like, you're not a very silent fan. I'm like, yeah, that's fair.
True.
So,
I have that coming.
all right, well, we've got to close it out, man. But I really appreciate chatting with you. Is there any final advice, any final tip, or anything you want to give to everybody?
The best advice I can give is you only live once. Enjoy it. Have fun.
Mm-hmm.
Do what makes you happy, whether people like it or not. I definitely have done things in my life that I have enjoyed that other people don't, or people in my family don't quite understand.
Mm-hmm.
And be friends with who you want to be friends with, whether people like them or not. As long as you're having fun and they're having fun and you guys are happy, keep going.
Exactly. I definitely agree. And I want to thank you guys for watching, and again, a big shout out to JT for joining me here in this part of the project, this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment. There are other interviews coming up, including at some point Lady DeWinter, Witch, as well as some other creators that I've really been looking forward to talking to again, as well as interviewing. And if you're interested in being a part of the series, feel free to comment, or you can hit me up on Discord or on Twitter. And we'll try to get it worked out. It's open to creators and viewers. So thanks for watching. Remember, you're awesome. Never let the world tell you otherwise. And I'll see you in the next video or stream. Peace.